Started.
Good day. We're going to service a 2021 Float X2 from Fox. So first we're going to record the adjustments. Okay, that's all the way out. Turn the dials all the way out. Okay, done. And the air pressure. Okay. Pop out the circlip here. Slide off the air can. The Fox tool for this top cap of the air can. Wipe this off. Separate the top cap from the inner air can. Now we'll clamp the damper shaft. So we'll clean that. 3/8" clamps. Undo the eyelet. Pull off the inner air can. I like to use this trunnion tool from Fox, but it's also fine to just clamp it in the vise as is. We'll deflate the IFP. Take out the valve cap. Take out the valve core. push the IFP cap in so that you can pop out the circlip. 90-degree pick, pull out the IFP cap, just wiggle it. Okay, 2mm Allen key for the travel spacer plate. I should show that more. Okay, so this one has no travel spacers, so just reach under this plate with a pick to pop it out like that. And now we'll use this bearing assembly pin tool from Fox. Watch out for the aerated oil. Pour this out into the oil tank. Just continue unthreading this. It will come out. Sometimes it takes a bit of wiggle for the inner damper tube to come off of the bearing assembly. But it just fell apart this time. So we'll separate these. We'll make sure the lockout is turned off and then pull out the IFP. We'll pour out the oil. We'll let it drain. Okay, so once it's mostly out, we'll just set it aside on some shop towel and let it drain completely. Actually, remove the bearing assembly and sag indicator first. So we'll just let that drain. Okay, so now we're going to change the seals on these. Okay, so I'm going to clean these bars, just wipe them off and remove the seals. I'm just going to do the basic seals, most of the dynamic seals. If the shock is fine, so no point doing more. Yeah, just wiping these off. Pop out the bottom out bumper. Make sure it's in good shape. This one is. Wipe out that circlip groove. pop the bottom out bumper back in. Gonna replace this seal. Gonna remove this IFP bleed port for now. Remove that. Pick out this inner shaft seal. The outer quad ring. We'll reuse these backup rings. Just wipe out the grooves. Wipe these off. Pull out the wiper. Pull out this seal. I like to wipe this out in here and the seal grooves. Okay, and I'm gonna use this is the sag indicator. We'll replace that. I'm gonna use this MTB hydraulics kit you can buy from eBay. Good. We'll put the sag in. We'll wipe this off first. It's drained all this time. We'll put the sag indicator on here. Air can top cap. We'll let it drain for more. I like to use a dull object for kind of pushing on this seal to pop it to its groove. It's a 4mm Allen key, dull enough that it's not going to damage anything. We'll put this back on the piston in the shaft. Okay, Okay, so now we're gonna start reassembly. Okay, yeah, so we'll start reassembling this. Yeah, we'll put this in the vise. We'll use Fox 4 weight, which is Motor X 4 weight. 16 centistokes at 40 degrees. So whatever you can find that's the same will work. We'll use a rubber glove, just a disposable rubber glove here, kind of purge the base valve. So I'm pouring it full on one side, then stretching it over and then pushing down, going up and down. Some bubbles escape from the base valve. Okay, that's good. We'll skim off these bubbles and put the IFP in place. I removed the bleed screw previously, so just so it doesn't spray out, I protect it with a shop towel. I push it down about ½ inch. And put that, cap that. Push it down a bit more. Oil level on this side all the way to the top. Skim off the air bubbles. And then we'll put in this piston like that. So we're clearing some of those ports on the piston by pushing it down now. Have some bubbles come up. Now we thread the bearing assembly in place. Get that snug. We'll pour out the extra oil. This, the travel spacers and the travel spacer holder goes back in place. Just get these snug. Okay, now I'm going to put in the circlip, the IFP, without the IFP cap. And I'm going to use a syringe with the Fox bleed fitting to purge the remaining air out of this and set the IFP depth. This syringe is also on the MTB Hydraulics eBay store. quite useful. And that's the OEM Fox fitting. And we'll also put the eyelet back on here so I can clamp the other end of the shock. I'm going to loosen this so I can access the port. And I'm also going to use this Fox IFP setting tool, but really anything is fine. Anything that doesn't scratch the IFP is fine. I'm going to push up on the IFP. Just a couple bubbles came out there, and then just cycle the shock. And then also cycle the IFP side. Wait for those bubbles to rise. Some of the bubbles will go back, but most of them stay out. Also cycle the damper side. Good. Also, at this point, make sure that this high-speed rebound adjustment is all the way out, which it wasn't in my case. That speeds up this process. Okay, so that's good enough. Oh. Or it's not. Yeah, you want to go as far as, or as long as it takes to get no more air bubbles coming out of this. It's usually about 5 to 10 cycles on both sides, but this one's taking a while. Okay, that's good. So now we'll extend the shock all the way just with the syringe. And fill it all the way with for the IFP, and then we'll use the Fox IFP tool to set it to 1.14 inches. There were some bubbles coming out of it. Cycle it a couple more times. Yeah, that's good enough. And then, so now the syringe is full before the IFP can be pushed to the final depth. So I'll empty the syringe. Okay, so that's at the final depth. So I'll remove the syringe. Make sure the bleed port is nice and full when you're putting the bleed screw back in. Make sure it overflows, and then that's the damper. And now we'll inflate the IFP. A bit on this side again. Remove the circlip. The IFP cap in place. The valve core, and you need to use a Fox reservoir inflator adapter in your shock pump. This one takes 100 psi. And you're looking for a nice and quiet damper, which we have. I like to check in both orientations. And you can hear when air is going through the valving, which is not the case now. So the bleed is good. We'll put the IFP valve cap in place. Okay, so now we can kind of wipe this off a little bit. Make sure it's clean for the final assembly, and inner air can. Wipe off the shaft, so we'll need to clamp that. Make sure this high-speed rebound adjuster is centered so it goes in nicely. And thread that on. Break the shaft. Oops. Bit of oil wasting. Always cap your oil bottles so you don't spill them. That's the 3/8 inch shaft clamps. You can use some Loctite on the end of the damper shaft, but it's fine without it. Just go snug. It's a steel shaft, so it's not too, it doesn't really break if you go hard on it. So yeah, that's now in place. So we'll add the air can lubricant. Make sure that the bottom out bumper is popped in place. So yeah, we'll add about 3 milliliters, and I like to add about 1 milliliter in the top here. I was actually using the Olin's air can lubricant for this, but it's basically the same as the float fluid. That's good. Now we'll slide the outer air can in place. There are 2 orientations for this. It's forgot to say to make note of that, but doesn't really matter for most bikes. Then the circle's in place, and it's done. We just need to spray it down. Some isopropyl alcohol here. Spray it down, and that's it. It's a routine service of a Fox Float X2. We'll inflate it in the bike, put all the settings back. One thing I forgot to say is it's good to check the lockout functionality. This one's good. Yeah. Yeah, so that's good enough. That's it.